We all kind of have a map for our lives, right? A plan for how things are supposed to turn out. But what happens when that road you're on just disappears into a thick fog? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today, how to find our way not just through all that uncertainty, but maybe even because of it.
This piece of ancient wisdom from Ecclesiastes, it offers a pretty radical perspective. When our world feels completely chaotic and unpredictable, this suggests there's actually a hidden rhythm to it all, a season for everything. So suddenly, our struggles aren't just random, meaningless events. They're part of a much bigger, purposeful cycle.
So we're going to start by acknowledging the shaking ground. Because, saying that change is inevitable is one thing. Actually living through it, that's something else entirely. It can feel like the ground is literally shaking under our feet, and that brings up a lot of fear and a feeling that we've totally lost control.
Yeah, this probably looks a little too familiar, doesn't it? You've got this clear plan, this vision in your head, and then, bam, life throws in a detour. It's so disorienting, and it can really make you feel like you've completely lost the plot of your own life story. And this verse from Proverbs, it just hits the nail on the head. It gets right to the heart of that tension we all feel. We spend so much time and energy planning our course, but ultimately, a higher power is the one establishing our actual steps. It's a huge invitation to just loosen our grip. So this brings us to a really powerful question. What if all those disruptions, those unexpected turns that feel like failures, what if they're not dead ends? What if they're actually crucial pieces in a much larger, more beautiful design? To really see how this works, let's look at a few case studies in faith. We're going to explore the lives of a couple of people whose greatest purpose wasn't found on some straight, easy path, but was actually forged in the fire of some really profound and unexpected detours.
Okay, first up, Joseph. His life story is, it's a masterclass in navigating one extreme, totally unjust, life-altering change after another.
Just look at this list for a second. Think about how relentless this was. This wasn't just a single bad day. Betrayal by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown in prison. Any one of these could have been the thing that broke him, a totally understandable reason to just give up hope. And yet, after all of that, looking back years later, this is what he says. This was his takeaway. He was somehow able to see all that suffering, not as just random tragedy, but as part of a redemptive plan that was way bigger than his personal pain. He reframed it all.
So, Joseph's story, it really shows us that uncertainty isn't just something we have to put up with. A lot of the time, it's the very thing that forces our faith to grow deeper. It's where we learn to trust precisely because we can't see what's ahead.
And if Joseph's story is about finding purpose by looking back, Abraham's story is about stepping forward with no hindsight at all. His journey is really the ultimate example of walking into the complete unknown, with nothing to guide you but a promise.
Can you imagine the weight of this? God tells him, leave everything you've ever known, everything that makes you feel secure, your home, your relatives, and go. Go where? To a place I will show you. He had no map, no itinerary, nothing. Just a command and a promise.
This verse just perfectly sums it up. It wasn't about having all the answers. For Abraham, faith was an action. It was obeying and moving forward without seeing the full picture.
These stories are so powerful, right? But they're not just ancient history. They bring up a really practical question for us right now. How do we apply these same principles to our own confusing, uncertain journeys today?
All right, so how do we actually do this? Let's get practical and break it down into 4 tools for the journey, 4 concrete steps to help us navigate change with the kind of faith we've been talking about.
Okay, here are the 4 big ones. Number 1, we pray for wisdom. And we're not talking about praying for a detailed map of the future, but just for the clarity to see the next right step. Number 2, we release control. This is a conscious choice to surrender our own plans and our own timetables. 3, we reflect on past faithfulness. We anchor ourselves by remembering specific times God has brought us through storms before. And number 4, we stay rooted in community, because this walk was never meant to be done alone.
I absolutely love this definition, because it clears up a huge misunderstanding. Surrender is not about being passive or admitting defeat. No way. It's an active choice. It's the conscious act of giving over all your fears, all your perfectly laid plans, to a higher power that you trust.
And this act of surrender, it leads to something pretty incredible. It unlocks a kind of peace that doesn't depend on your circumstances being stable. It's how we find real rest, even when we feel like we're just floating in the middle of the unknown.
This is such a perfect metaphor for faith in action. Think about it. It's a lamp for my feet, not a giant stadium floodlight for the whole highway. It's a great reminder that faith often just gives us enough light for the very next step. And in those seasons of deep uncertainty, that's gotta be enough.
So let's pull all this together. Instead of being paralyzed by the fog of what you can't see, just focus on the one small step you can take. Try to stay present, right here, right now. Anchor yourself in the truth of God's faithfulness in the past, and then you can actively trade your anxiety for His peace. That's how we move forward.
So let this be the thought that you hold on to. The detours, the confusion, those moments you feel completely lost, none of it is wasted. It is all being woven into a purposeful, perfect design for your unique story.
And that brings it all back to you, right here, right now. Forget the 5-year plan for just a minute. Looking at the uncertainty that's right in front of you, what is the single, small step of faith that you're being called to take today?